New York City, America's accountant, Dan Geltrude. Dan, thank you so much for joining me. So Dan, I guess I really don't care where Biden spent Thanksgiving, but it is definitely a bad look, especially because he tries to play it off like he's middle-class Joe and he's for the little people, yet he only wants to hang out with billionaires on Thanksgiving.
Well, that's exactly what it's about, Steph, in that he's always trying to come across as a man of the people. Hey, and I'm just like you, and I know I feel your pain, but he's really not feeling the pain. And that's okay. It's okay to be rich, Joe. There's nothing wrong with that. But then you can't turn around and start saying to people, well, I'm just like you when you're not. Look, when we have people in this country that literally cannot afford to have enough food, that is a big problem. And there is no reason why in a nation as rich as ours that we have that issue. So the fact that we're seeing those types of numbers going up in Nantucket and Massachusetts is very disturbing. And that, if you're going to be middle class Joe, well, then you got to be the president that is going to go after that very issue and get it resolved.
Yeah, and it's just such a shocking number. In Massachusetts, food insecurity is projected to hit around 81% this year. I mean, that doesn't sound like a number that you would see in a state in America.
No, again, it's really something that all of us should be concerned about. And as we go into the holiday season, this is the time for giving. So, everyone who is fortunate enough to have enough, whatever that means, they should be looking at how they can help their neighbors. And clearly, the answer is not paying more taxes to give it to the government so they can step in. I still think that people can do enough on their own in helping others without having to rely on the government to do it. And the proof is in the pudding, because if the government was really doing what it's supposed to be doing and not wasting all this taxpayer money, these numbers that we're seeing and you're making reference to simply wouldn't exist, or they would certainly be a heck of a lot lower.
Yeah, and then a lot of us are wondering where's the relief for the American people? Where's the plan? And it seems like the Biden administration, every time they come up with some new idea, it's actually going to make things worse. We heard from the Department of Interior that they're actually going to hike rates on oil and gas companies to drill on federal land. So how does that make things better for the average person?
Well, the average person right now is feeling the impact of inflation more than anything else. I think all the polling data out there lends itself to people being focused on inflation. And why is that? Because it's really a hidden and an insidious tax that everyone feels. But those that are in the lower income brackets are going to feel it more. Now, when you have fuel prices rising the way they have been, that is a big contributing factor as to what is causing inflation. Why? Because we need oil and we need fuel for literally everything, for people and for products to go from point A to point B. There's a cost, and the cost of fuel going up means the cost of that end product is also going up. So between fuel costs and what's going on with not having enough people in the workforce, because we need more people working, those two factors are what is primarily causing this inflation. And again, what is the White House doing to address this? They turn around and say, you know what? There's price gouging with the gas companies, and we're going to tax more on drilling. Again, going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. And then just to give our audience some perspective, in Pennsylvania, for example, energy costs there are expected to rise as much as 50% in some parts of the state. And you think of how the average American lives, and a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. They don't have the extra resources to make up for those costs.
No, they're not. And even when you have people that have been getting an increase in wages, and of course the administration wants to talk about what a great thing that is. Okay, well, let's say it is a great thing. other than the fact that inflation and all the costs are exceeding what those wage increases are. So again, you have people that are literally going backwards, and that's what inflation does. When everything costs more, it becomes much harder to keep up. Even people that, let's say, have some savings, their savings account is negatively impacted because they're not getting enough interest on their money to be able to keep up. So literally every single day, people are getting poorer. And why this administration doesn't recognize that is quite puzzling. Inflation is the #1 issue to address. And even if they believe that is the truth, what are they doing with a plan of substance other than just talking about it's the corporations, it's the rich, it's everybody else causing this problem, except for our policies?
Yeah, they're really good at the old shift blame, and they've been doing it a lot. Well, Dan, we got to run. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Steph.
Of course. Coming up next, despite calls